Welcome back everyone, and this is a follow-up video in regards to my hypothesized technique for decoding these popular iron-cladded railroad locks produced by SLAYMAKER and Fram. And this SLAYMAKER lock is a 4-tumbler lock. It's stamped PRR. And a few videos ago, I hypothesized that these tumblers could be easily decoded by making marks on the side of the keyway here. And that basically would be where the riser comes out of the keyway. What I'm doing is I take the tumbler and I trap the tip of this part right here into the gate of the tumbler, and then I push it up where it's meshing up against the surface of the fence, and I rotate it. And so I'm doing a rotation and pushing up, and wherever the riser comes out of the keyway I would make a mark. Well, I discovered that on the top mark here was L4 or lever 4, and the second mark was L1 and L3, and on the bottom mark was L2. And what's kind of unique about this process is it's so incredibly simple, and what had me very suspicious why it would work was the changes of the marks was almost about 0.050, and that's about the thickness of my riser. And I said, that's just too much of a coincidence. There's got to be something to that. Well, I decided to make myself a new test key as described in my second book, The Extreme Antique Padlock Collector. In fact, there's a similar lock like this one on the cover. So this is what I came up with, this design right here. And what's different about this is I did a little bit of an overextension, gave it more reinforcement to the metal. It probably really didn't even need it. And in addition to that, I didn't use brass. I used beryllium bronze. Stuff is incredibly strong. And this is a key that's reusable. So if you're going to take the time to cut a blank that is rare in supply, or actually make your own blank, and you want to make sure that that key is going to work. You need to be sure. You don't want to spend all the time making a key and to find out it doesn't work. And that's the whole reason for this test key. This has been super glued in, and if I ever want to reuse it, I just take a torch to it and it'll fall right off, and I make a new piece. Really neat. Unfortunately, this lock has a problem. The top lever tumbler has a broken lever spring. So I can't really give you a demonstration, because what'll happen is that sticky tumbler will not properly actuate, and it'll be a very poor demonstration. Also, I want to show you this picture that I found on the internet of a key that's from a SLAYMAKER lock like this one, and I found this bit pattern. Not quite the same as my key, but that doesn't mean that this key wouldn't work the lock. I don't know exactly what the tolerances are. I suspect that the tolerances of my homemade key here, my test key tool, is that this is on the, I would say, high tolerance, or undercut for lack of a better word. It means that I could have cut this key a little bit deeper and it would have worked. But I don't know what the working tolerance is between the fence and the tumblers themselves, and I didn't want to find out. All I know is the key worked, and looking inside the lock, I could actually read the movement of the tumblers themselves inside the keyway, or excuse me, inside the lock chamber, and I can actually see that as the key turned, they were engaging all level. And I took a measurement on my key, and for me it looks like the bit changes are about the thickness of a wire, which is consistent with what I hypothesized here, and it's 0.050. But that doesn't mean that you should automatically assume that that's true of all keys. I still don't know. I don't have enough of these keys, original keys, to really make that assessment. It would be wrong of me to say that bit changes are in 0.50. So if there's somebody out there that knows, I mean, it's either going to be 0.050 or 0.075. Maybe there's a working range where it'll work somewhere in between. But in any case, this is an awesome, awesome tool. You guys are getting a freebie because if you buy my second book, you're already learning what I did. This is something that I machined on my tool that you guys have been seeing in my past videos, my jig cutter from 18 volt. And I did some machining here on my little mini drill press, and that worked out really nice. So yeah, this is a great technique, and I hope you guys learned something useful today. Thank you for watching.